A Hat in Time is an adorable 3D platformer that'll give you the vibes of N64 era platformers like Super Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. It's a wholesome adventure filled with charming characters that are sadly plagued by some bugs and performance issues on Switch. A Hat in Time has you playing as a nameless little girl who is referred to as Hat Kid, because she wears a hat. One day while traveling through space, Hat Kid is blocked by a mafia boss from Mafia Town. They're looking to collect their crossing fee. After refusing to pay, the mafia guy breaks through the windows of Hat Kid's spaceship, sending time-based fuel into the depths of space. Now Hat Kid must travel to each of the 4 planets below to retrieve her fuel supply and get back home. Throughout the game, you'll run into other characters looking to use the power of the timepieces to fuel their own agendas. The 10 to 15 hour journey will take you across 4 worlds to collect the 40 timepieces needed to power your ship. It's a very minimal story that's a means to just give a bit of context to the actual platforming gameplay. What does stand out is the cast of characters. While the story is alright at best, it's the characters I found to be cheerful, admirable, and as the developers describe them, cute as heck. A Hat in Time gives me the vibes of playing Super Mario 64 again. The hub world where you select which level to tackle is confined within Hat Kid's spaceship. I guess it feels more like Super Mario Galaxy 2 in that sense. Like in 64, sections of the ship are blocked off until a certain amount of timepieces are collected, the equivalent to power stars here. To collect the timepieces, Hat Kid has to travel to the many planets below, each with their own unique theme. Each world features plenty of things to do outside of the main objective. It's up to you whether you want to speed through the main objective mission to complete the story, or just get lost in all the bonus content. Like something out of Super Mario Odyssey, you'll find plenty of other objectives outside of the main missions just hidden around levels. The comparisons to Mario games keep coming up, but I think that just goes to show the many influences on this title. Main stories will give you an objective of completing a level within that world that you're on, or collecting a certain amount of an object to unlock a timepiece inside of a locked cage. These are broken down into acts, and as you complete an act, you'll see the finale level fill up until it's unlocked. At the peak of the main act are some comical boss fights. I think part of the 3D platformer charm is especially in the golden N64 era where the boss fights against these memorable personalities. If there's something A Hat in Time nails, it's the boss fights, recreating those nostalgic moments. The enemies here are an odd bunch for sure. Despite their quirkiness, the bosses were tough enough to have me clench my teeth during the most nail-biting situations. Now, I mentioned there's a good handful of things for you to do in these open worlds outside of the main story levels. For example, you can collect gems that act as a currency in this game. They're used at times to unlock certain levels in a world or purchase pins that can be attached to your hat. The pins you attach to your hat give you abilities like being able to use a hookshot or magnetically collecting all the collectibles near you. Hat Kid also has their own unique abilities. For example, the top hat will tell you where the next story objective is, while the speed hat lets you sprint through a terrain. These hats are formed with the yarn that is scattered and hidden in each of the worlds you explore. Each of the levels has relics that you can find as well. These are like puzzle pieces that when combined form a display of some sort like a giant hamburger plushie. In addition to all of this are bonus levels that are also more reminiscent of the Super Mario Sunshine stages where you lose the flood pack. These stages are glitches in time that send you into a different dimension, having you platform your way to a timepiece at the very end. They're more linear than the traditional main stages and provide a nice change of pace. So far, the way I've described this game is a really solid platformer with an incredible personality, and that's true, but it's also in need of some polishing. There were a handful of instances where I would get stuck in an object or completely freeze mid-animation. Hitboxes could be better at times too. There's one boss in the first world, for example, that has you jump onto a rolling ball, and more often than not I couldn't tell which part of the ball would hurt me or which part I was supposed to get on. A Hat in Time is extremely charming. Characters are cute and filled with personality. I love that you can make Hat Kid change her expression with the press of the D-pad, making her blow a kiss or scold whatever's in front of her. The sandbox worlds each feature a unique terrain different from the last. Their own little theme and aesthetic keep them feeling unique with every new introduction. Specifically, the third world is a personal favorite. It's a spooky themed world that's absolutely beautiful. When accompanied by Hat Kid wearing a cute witch hat, I couldn't help but smile. Now, as much as I enjoyed its personality, A Hat in Time is sadly plagued with a few performance issues on Switch. When I originally reviewed A Hat in Time on PC, I found a few bugs, but performance was mostly stable at least. The same can't be said with Switch. In dock mode, performance runs at 720p with a target of 30 frames per second. Post-processing effects have been tuned down for Switch and help target that 30 frames per second mark. As a result, I noticed a lot of shimmering with the lower resolution, more noticeable in dock mode for sure. In confined areas, the frame rate was stable, usually hitting around 30 frames per second. However, anytime an act took place in an area outside, I frequently saw dips into the mid to low 20s. Just like the original console releases too, I did notice a few bugs like texture glitches and stuttering in later moments of the game. Apparently it's a bug that happens when you play continuously non-stop, and it's fixed with the restart. The developers are currently aware of this, but as someone that just reviews games and plays them continuously, I got this pretty frequently. I think that generally defines this game well in terms of this port. What I originally thought would have just been a lower resolution at 30 frames per second port to the Switch, this has more bugs and performance hiccups than I expected. Developers are aware of them and are actively trying to fix them, but for the time being, this isn't up to par with what I expected. The music tracks in this game are delightful. Everything from the loud, fast-paced main theme that brings up that feeling of adventure to Mafia Town theme that sparks that sense of exploration. The start of it actually almost sounds like the Luigi's Mansion theme, starting off slow and slowly picking up. The songs are perfectly fitting for each of the worlds, setting up the right tones to fit their themes. What I was shocked to see, and this might just be because of the era of platforms it's tackling, but I was surprised to see voice acting. Usually, the retro platformers that inspired this title didn't use actual voice acting, and seeing that here was a delightful surprise. Hat Kid is already an adorable protagonist, and Afia Yu's voice only adds to her charm of being a rambunctious little kid with the cute badass charm of someone like Kirby. Ahead in Time is a marvelous addition to the 3D platformer genre, with games like Yooka-Laylee constantly trying to reignite the passion and love for the genre that was so prominent during the N64 era. Ahead in Time is one of the closest attempts yet. It's not perfect by any means, as there's a handful of bugs I came across along with performance issues on the Switch. That certainly made the Switch port the less appealing version for me. It's an average port that occasionally borders the weird and obscure when bugs start to arise. While I do think Ahead in Time is an entertaining platformer, I don't think the Switch port was worth the wait. The dev team is actively working on polishing it right now, but it's apparent that this wasn't ready for release. I recommend keeping a close eye on the game's subreddit, as I'm sure it'll improve over the weeks after this review goes live, but for the time being, I wouldn't recommend it.